human-based mascots should not exist in the form of sports.
Okay.
So,
Elaborate.
like
The Cavalier?
the Cavalier, like
Mhm.
the guy from the Patriots. I'm trying to think. A lot of college sports teams have like human mascots,
That's true.
but the worst is the Pelicans in New Orleans.
That's
Now
an
they have
animal-based mascot?
well, now they do have a pelican.
Okay.
However, they also have the king cake baby.
Oh,
And if
for...
you've never seen the king cake baby,
But why would they? Because that's usually associated with Mardi Gras. Wouldn't that be...
Hello and welcome back to Shifting Tones, the podcast with nerdy tones and shifting formats. I am your week host, Steph, and I'm joined by my two lovely co-hosts, Lorissa
Hiya.
and Sam.
hey guys, what's up?
Sorry, it's been a minute.
Oh
It's
my
been
God.
another break.
Are we a
Yeah.
bi-weekly podcast now, or
Well, I mean, we could consider that if that works with our schedule.
no? We're getting better, I promise.
Yeah. Yeah.
We'll try.
Mm-hmm.
But we're going to get into what we've been doing the last 2 weeks instead of just like a weekly update.
Yeah.
But we'll try and keep it short because I have a fun topic for us to discuss.
Cool.
So let's get into it. Who would like to start first?
I'll go first. Why not?
Okay, sure.
okay.
Why not? Why not take the reins on this one? You know, I'll go first so that, you know, the ladies can have the, you know,
Okay.
cool small talk afterwards and maybe have a transitional piece, whatever. I don't know.
All right.
Number one, Controversial Corner 2024.
Whoa.
We're just get into it. We're changing it up. We're
Going
shifting
right
the tone.
in. Wow.
Number one, flying type Pokemon should not exist.
That's crazy.
I know that's controversial, but for a
Okay.
few reasons. Number one, it should be wind or air type, not flying.
Okay.
Because when you think about Pokemon in general, you have water, fire, grass, electric. These are all like, you know, like
Elements.
elemental things. Fairy even, you know, all these different things. I know like steel's a little bit different, but I don't know.
It's still an element, I would say. Like you forge it
Yeah,
from like...
also then get rid of fighting type too. I love fighting. Fighting's in my top 3 types.
Okay.
But fighting's not. They all fight. All the Pokemon fight.
Yeah, to me, as a non-Pokemon native, that one made the least sense to me too. Like, oh, how is that different from normal then?
Yeah, exactly. And it's weird that like sock and throw, their like clothes are part of their body because they're not clothes. They're
Yeah, that's really true.
a piece of their body.
Especially their punching gloves. I never thought of it that way.
Mm-hmm. All right. Number 2, I feel bad for saying this, but if a video, especially short form video content, TikTok, Reel, or whatever, starts off with, please just stay for 5 seconds. I got to tell you something. Or please just stay for 1 minute. I scroll past it. I'm so sorry if you need my video. And I know a lot of times it's for a good cause. But if you start by saying that, I'm going to leave.
Right.
Start with something more interesting.
Often I find it's for padding as well, too, because often when I see those, they repeat the same clip in order to make it like 30 seconds, a minute, 10 minutes, whatever they're trying to go for.
Well, I felt really bad because this one was like, you know, my house burned down and, you know, if you stay for 1 minute, I'll be able to, you know, get enough money to buy a new house. But then they were plugging like a thing at the end, like a TikTok shop thing. They're like, and also, you know, get the new lawnmower from Temu.
It would be less controversial if you just didn't watch that stuff.
It's true.
That's true. That's true. But I have to. Human-based mascots should not exist in the form of sports.
Okay.
So, like
the Cavalier?
The Cavalier, like the guy from the Patriots. I'm trying to think. A lot of college sports teams have like human mascots.
That's true.
But the worst is the Pelicans in New Orleans.
That's an
now they
animal-based mascot?
Well, now they do have a pelican.
Okay.
However, they also have the king cake baby.
Oh,
And if you've never seen the king cake baby...
But why would they? Because that's usually associated with Mardi Gras. Wouldn't that be a New Orleans tradition?
The New Orleans Pelicans.
Oh, I didn't realize it was the New Orleans. Okay,
Yes.
so now I can understand this then. It's a Mardi Gras thing.
Google king cake baby pelicans.
Well,
you're making it sound like I don't want to.
Yeah, exactly. It is horrifying. It should not be a mascot. It should be burned.
All
Probably
right.
at the stake, just publicly for everybody. And then I'll let Larissa do like weekend updates. I didn't, you know, I mean, we did stuff, but I'll let her take all that real quick. Also, I hate the rate your video game knowledge people on TikTok and video forums where they're like, rate your video game knowledge from 1 to 10. And they're like, oh, I'm like an 8 with video game knowledge. And they're like, okay, name this video game. And then it's a clip from the world's smallest indie game with like 3 active players on Steam.
Sure.
And like,
Absolutely.
you don't know video games.
Yeah, it sounds
Stupid.
like those boys going up to teenagers being like, oh, I see you're wearing X band shirt. Name 3 songs off of their list that isn't the top 30 or whatever.
Yeah, it's stupid.
Yeah.
And then last thing, what would you do for a Klondike bar?
Nothing. I don't like them, so.
Oh, that's true. You don't like Klondike bars.
Right. Well, I love them.
What's the worst thing
and
you
the
do
chocolate,
for a Klondike bar?
The worst thing I would do for a Klondike bar.
The most illegal thing you do for a Klondike
bar? Nothing. I'm jaywalking.
For a Klondike bar?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'd probably like commit like minor petty theft for a Klondike bar.
No, absolutely not. You telling me?
You just take the Klondike bar.
Just the Klondike bar.
Yeah, exactly. That's your petty theft. Just take it. Oh, hello, Mr.
Buddy,
Pibb.
you're in the cords and this isn't working for either of us.
A unit has arrived.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, Mr. Pibb was in the call and was sitting on my lap and digging his claws in and being really cute, but just a little... Oh, no, stay down there, buddy. A little inconvenient.
We should add a little cat cam for him, because he just wants to say hi to all of our listeners.
Absolutely. The Mr. Pibb hour.
Yes.
But that's all I got. I kept my small talk under 5 minutes, guys.
Wow.
How's that?
That's pretty impressive. That's usually how mine go, I feel like.
I blasted through it, so.
Yeah. Okay, Lorissa?
Yes, so updates. I'm trying to remember what happened in the last 2 weekends that we haven't conversed with our listeners.
And I let you take this?
You
don't even remember?
Well, I do remember one notable thing. I'm pretty sure we did this before our little mini break again. We went to a cool vintage shop in our area that we found on TikTok that was highly recommended to us by our friends because they also saw the same TikTok and I forgot about it because it was like on my thing of things to check out eventually. I shared it, I'm sure, with Sam. And our friends came up and they're like, oh my God, this place is Lorissa coded. That was the first thing I thought of when I walked in. And I was like, oh, one, thank you so much for thinking of me like that. And two, yes, I absolutely have to go check out this place. And so we checked it out and it was really cool. There was a slide that went from the back of the warehouse down to the basement. We didn't do it.
Fun.
Yes.
Yeah. But it looked fun. Well, we came right after a large brunch. And so my stomach was like, maybe another time.
Probably not the And also, like, I know it's supposed to be smooth because that's what our friend said, but it is just like a giant corrugated pipe, like a plastic, like industrial pipe.
Yeah, so they put it down like a ramp, not a row, a ramp that a like semi truck, where they would deliver it and then you would like take it down to the basement. That's kind of the vibe. But it was really cool. They even had like a little foam pit at the end of it that you could catch yourself into if you decided to go down. And there was also a little secret doorway. They used a vintage door of a fridge. And so you could open it up and then you can crawl through it. And then you ended up in like a vintage child bedroom set with like NSYNC posters on the wall and like just really silly,
sounds
goofy
like just
things.
like a fun house rather than a vintage house.
Absolutely.
Well, it was a giant store and like it almost felt like each like area was a different decade. Like there was the 50s era, the 40s, the 60s, the 90s, but then the basement was all like vintage clothes and the back room was like all 80s, 90s, and there was a bunch of VHS tapes and posters hanging up.
Yes,
it was pretty cool.
Vintage.
You guys get anything?
No, well, we thought about it. We really did. But we passed.
Wow.
Yeah, for today. It's just like
self-control.
Exactly. The only thing that I was really super tempted to get were the vintage TV sets, like think Jetsons TV set from the 50s, where it's got the little cool like silver handles around the screen,
Yeah.
Bubble TV.
So cool. It was a little out of our price range. So we did not get it. But yeah, that was a great time. The also other really cool thing, and I think more vintage shops should be doing this, especially if they're trying to cater towards a younger crowd. In the front area, they had a really cool and large stationery section with local artists' work.
Ooh,
yeah,
that's cool.
Absolutely.
That was nice.
I was really tempted to get some of that as well, but like I said, we had a little bit of self-control because I think I remember someone forgot their wallet for that entire day, which is fine.
What? For the vintage shop?
Yeah.
No, how did we pay for brunch then?
I paid for it.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, no. Okay, so in my defense, Lorissa never carries her wallet anywhere. So the fact that she had her wallet
It
was
a
like
saving grace.
a big deal. Yeah.
Yeah. And most of the time, listeners, we share our finances because we are married. So it's not like Sam's treating me all the time or anything like that. It's just that I think Sam has a higher credit card limit than me.
I do.
It's crazy that you just don't even bring your wallet. I feel like you should have your ID on you all the time.
That's definitely a controversial thing. I absolutely
add to the controversial corner.
To be fair, her ID is a lot of times in my wallet because we'll go somewhere and she'll be like, I don't want to take my whole wallet. Here's my ID and my credit card.
That's crazy.
Honestly, today I went to a dentist appointment to get my teeth cleaned. So I don't know if you can see it on our video camera that they are nice and pearly and nice and smooth.
Oh yeah.
But I was walking into the office, and now what I've done is my wallet has a little ring on it. So I just attach it to my little wristlet that I have for my keys. So I was like, if I just do this, and then I find a phone case that has a ring on it, I could just attach my phone to this.
Oh my goodness.
That way when you lose one thing, you lose everything.
Exactly.
You just need like the phone case.
Like the bag wristlet,
No, you need a purse. Just carry your purse around.
I absolutely despise them, and you know that.
Easy.
Yeah, I had the little over the strap bag.
I really did. I just don't like straps for some reason.
I'll start carrying my bag again for us.
Oh, thank you. But yeah, that was pretty much it. Nothing too crazy happened. I believe we discussed our Easter plans in our last episode. I don't think there's been any huge holidays that have been going on in the meantime.
Mother's Day,
that's right.
We did Mother's Day, but it was a little messy of a Mother's Day this weekend. I had a death in the family.
Yeah.
And so you plan around that, regardless of what the situation is. So unfortunately, whatever it is, the wake was on Mother's Day.
Yes.
And we had planned a Mother's Day party, but it was okay. We were able to switch things around. And then the funeral was yesterday. So, by the way, I don't know. I feel like me and my brothers have just become, this is going to sound morbid, but the family pallbearers at this point.
Yes,
for like
honestly.
Any family members passing, because unlike the one side of the family, we're the only nephews. And then on the other side of the family, we're the only like younger nephews that are still in in the area, like in our state, because, well, a couple of them live there, but they just, I don't know. It is what it is.
Right. Well, also some of your other cousins and or family members don't necessarily have the muscle or stamina to be lifting up a 1,000-pound coffin. So,
as my dad always says, always a pallbearer, never a corpse. TM.
Clever. But in brighter news, and I'll end it with this little story since that was a little bit of a downer. May our uncle rest in peace. But what I wanted to say on Mother's Day is my mom, she picked a Japanese hibachi place to go to when we visited her to have a little bit of a dinner.
Oh, yeah.
And I forgot how wild hibachi can get, especially based off of the location specific that you go to. Because the last time before I went to this location, it was one of those very like proper dim lighting places where they come out in a really regal sort of chef's hat look and they like do the tricks. No. This place we walk in and it kind of felt like a club. There was rainbow lighting everywhere. There was 2 different bars. One of the bars had little fishes with like propulsions underneath it so they can float up and down on the side of the bar. It was hilarious. And so we got to sit down for the hibachi. The chef came out and he's like, hey guys, you thought this was a classy establishment? Not that I did at that point, but they brought out a water gun and they're like, hey, sake shots for everyone.
And then the little guy like peeing on you, but peeing out sake.
Absolutely. And my mom, God bless her, she was not like a woo girl Wednesday kind of girl in college or anything like that, but she was like, hell yeah, hit me up. And she took those shots like a champ. And I was like, wow, you go, Mom. It's your day. Enjoy it. And then after our dinner, I asked her, I'm like, how are you feeling? She's like, yeah, I'm a little buzzed, but I'm okay. So shout out to you.
Day.
Yes.
Yeah. But in their defense, they are brand new, like literally open probably within the last couple weeks.
Oh, absolutely.
Restaurant, so
I don't think it'll change though.
Still getting their footing, yeah.
Okay, so crazy off the gate, pretty much.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna go. Is it my turn?
Absolutely.
I guess if you want.
Okay. So not much has been going on
in
my world. I'm almost done with school. Only a couple more days. So then it'll be my summer break, and I'm very excited for summer break.
Absolutely.
We're rearranging my office space.
I
for
see. It's a
some
little
of the-
blank.
It is a little bland, so we're kind of moving some furniture, moving some rooms around.
Moving to our town, right?
Oh, no. I wish,
Aw.
but not yet. Oh, we've considered it. So
I know. I
I
sent you that
know.
house.
I
the
know, it's
perfect
very
house.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I looked at it. I was like, oh, if only
And it had a
It's
pool.
so
timing.
good.
I saw that.
Honestly,
Anyway,
Steph.
we're distracted. So last time I said I finished school, so I have everything set, turned in, so I'm all good with that.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Nice.
Thank you. It was a lot of work, a lot of money spent.
Oh, I'm sure.
I'm pretty sure I spent like over $3,000 on
Wow.
classes alone out of pocket. So that was
Woo.
crazy. Happy for it to be done.
Yes.
And then, yeah, I've just been super busy around the house getting things together. We did celebrate Mother's Day as well. So we did travel for that for both my side. Well, not really my side,
Right.
but for like my husband's family, we traveled up for his
Right.
in-laws.
That's beautiful.
Mother's Day weekend. So that was super nice. My little sister came into town.
Oh,
She came to visit
sweet.
for Mother's Day for our mom, but she
Nice.
just came one day to visit
Wow.
and was off. So
That's crazy.
That sounds like your sister, though.
yeah,
Yeah.
but she went to visit us, and then she went to go hang out with her boyfriend. So
Fair enough.
Boyfriend?
yeah, she's had a boyfriend for a bit.
Crazy. I don't know. I guess I don't ask, but
That's fair. You don't, and I wouldn't just be like announcing that like my sister has a
Yes,
boyfriend.
FYI.
hey, Steph, is your sister dating anyone?
Yeah, that could be a little weird for you to ask me.
Weird. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, especially since you're married, you know?
Yeah.
Right.
But the last thing is that I'm trying to see if work
Mhm.
offered a conference that they would pay for.
Ooh.
That might be in Tucson, Arizona. So I might be going with my coworker to that.
That'd be
That'd be
so
awesome.
fun.
The actual like conference
Mhm.
material subject matter wise, I don't care at all about.
Who cares? Travel
if
for
if
work?
it's a free flight, hotel, food like allowance, and
Yep.
if it's a free trip to Tucson, I haven't been since 2013, so I'm like, sign me up.
That
So
sounds great.
Never
Yeah.
been.
you've never? It's a great city. I really like Tucson.
I've heard.
Hot?
I have. Oh, sorry. Just because it
No, you're good.
tied into that, I have an opportunity potentially with my job to go to the user conference in San Diego for the
Ooh.
ArcGIS
That'd be so
user
cool.
conference. It's the big
Mhm.
mapping thing. It's like South by Southwest, but for mapping nerds. And I mean,
Nice.
it's massive. So I'm kind of hoping they let
get
me
to
go.
That'd
Yeah.
be cool. But then my last one, which is a little more nerdy news,
Ooh.
is that my husband and I are 4 episodes away from being caught up in One Piece.
Look
Wow,
at
wow,
you
wow.
guys. Are you
Yep.
watching the new series stuff then?
No, we'll be caught up, so we'll be watching it every Sunday when it drops.
Wow.
Yeah.
Look at
So
you
So
guys.
they're in their like little space outfits now.
Yeah, I'm very excited. It's been pretty good. Like, it's
Okay.
been fun. It's been a journey because, like I said, we started January 1st, 2024. So,
Wow. I've seen lots of clips of Luffy fighting a guy with he wears his coat like over his shoulders, like he doesn't wear it, and he's like laying down while flying really fast,
Mm.
and then Luffy kicks him really hard. I've seen that video.
I'm trying to think of who you think of. I'm like, there's a lot of guys with coats over their shoulders.
Yeah, I was gonna
so
say,
I'm kind of like,
they are
Begins with a K.
pirates.
His name begins with a K.
does he look kind of like a mafia member? in a
Yeah,
way?
yeah, absolutely.
Okay, we're at that fight, so don't say anything that you've seen.
Oh, okay. All right. Luffy-
Spoilers.
yeah, the guy was doing stuff, and then the other guy did stuff.
Yeah, pretty
Wow.
much. So, but yeah, that'll be kind of our segue into today's episode because that was the only nerdy thing I brought up to talk about.
Mhm.
But our episode is very simple. We're going to be talking about green flags and red flags, but we're going to talk about just
Ooh.
different things. I have a couple categories that we're
Okay.
going to talk about. So we're just going to discuss like, what are your guys' green flags with certain things and what things just set you off that those are considered red flags for you. So
Mhm.
it's very opinionated. We can get into it if you're like, oh, I didn't think about that, but I would consider that a red flag. Or we can
Mhm.
debate and
Gotcha.
be like, no, that's actually something for me is like a green flag, right?
Okay.
So I figured we could kind of start with movies. This
Okay.
is going to be an overall, any type of movie. So what are your red flags and green flags for movies?
Ooh, okay. I will say green flag, this would be very simple for me,
Mhm.
is just like a solid soundtrack. I think
Okay.
the soundtrack really builds a movie and really plays into it. I've been to some movies where like the story, everything is fantastic,
Mhm.
but it's just really dull. And like maybe that's
Sure.
the point of it is like the soundtrack is like playing into that dullness of it, but
Mhm.
it's like if you don't have a good soundtrack, I'm not going to watch your movie. So
That's fair. Okay,
Fair
that's
enough.
something I would have never considered.
Yeah. Since you said that, I immediately thought of this thing that they use all the time for stereotypes in film language. And this would be a red flag, is whenever they use those like yellow filters to represent any sort of third world country.
Yes,
Oh
I
my-
know
I
exactly what
hate
you're talking
that
about. Wait, that's a good
so
one.
much.
That's
It's terrible.
That's a good one. Wait, because
Yeah.
that's
Oh.
what you always see
That's
memes about
always,
that.
yep.
It's so bad. And I feel like the only movies that get a pass on that are like films from actually like the 40s and 30s where the like grain is legitimately warmer.
Right.
That's it. Other than
I mean,
that,
red
get out
flags
of
for
here.
filters in general, like the bluish green
Yes.
filter in Twilight.
It's so bad.
Oh, horrible. Okay, since you did a red flag, I did a green flag. I'll do a red flag because
Mhm.
to
I mean, we could
bounce
just say
back and
whichever
forth.
ones we
Yeah.
think of, because I know we're kind of just doing this off the top of our
No,
heads.
yeah,
So whatever
yeah.
comes to mind.
A red flag for me, it's repeated actor use, and I don't know if
Oh, I
that
see.
considers like
I would-
individual
would.
movies, but I want diversity. I want new actors
too.
found,
Mhm.
and I know I've talked about this in the past, but like, cool, we've seen The Rock in everything.
Yes.
You couldn't have found another guy to play that part, and I
That's
know
fair.
that's like not for a specific movie, but just I wish there was more casting diversity in Hollywood for movies. New young actors, new undiscovered talent.
Yes.
You
I
know.
could see that. Yeah.
Absolutely. And like I'm all for like actual diversity. Like let's see more
Oh yeah, say well, hold
Asian
on. No, just
representation. No, I was just gonna say I'm honestly at this point I'm getting so bored with the amount of Chris's we see everywhere that I'm like, I just give me some like 20 new white straight men. Like at least give me that.
nope, and they'll all be named Chris too. That's the problem.
I'm
Darn.
gonna piggyback off of Sam's thing about the good soundtrack because for
Mhm.
me, a red flag is like when the sound is like the mixing or something
Mhm.
like that is
Yes.
bad, where you can't hear the people talking.
Yes, that's
Or like
awful.
the music is overpowering
Yes.
the voices of people,
Mhm.
and I'm like straining to hear just even what's being said because sometimes I'm like, what did they say?
Absolutely. I
Like,
totally agree.
and I understand how like that's why people a lot of times watch movies with subtitles is because like you can't hear the movie.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
you
Mhm.
should still be able to at least hear what they're saying.
I agree. Absolutely. There's honestly, Sam and I were not even that old, and my hearing is really good. Sam sometimes complains about noises I pick up on,
Huh?
and I need the subtitles for basically everything.
Yeah,
Like,
that's true.
it's terrible.
I would say I have two more red flags.
Go
I thought
ahead.
I'd have a lot of green flags. I'm trying to think of them as we sit
Green
here.
flags are kind of trickier, I think, just in general, because your mind will always go to something negative first.
Yes, absolutely.
These are both, I think, red flags for most people that watch movies,
Mm-hmm.
and some people like cliffhangers. I hate cliffhangers,
Really?
especially if they don't end up doing a sequel.
That's fair. I guess.
And it just ends on a cliffhanger.
Mhm.
Specifically, and I know a lot of people like love them,
Mhm.
but like The Gray. I don't know if you've ever seen that movie with Liam
No.
Neeson.
No,
He's
I've
like
never
on a
even heard of it.
he's on a plane. He works in Alaska or
Mhm.
whatever, like doing some oil rigging or something up there, and he's flying home. Plane crashes, and he's out in the middle of Canada, in the middle of like the winter, and there's these wolves hunting them down. It's like
Mhm.
people are
Okay.
getting picked off one by one.
Oh, right.
And the
I
final
remember
thing is
this.
like him
Mhm.
about to go up against this fight against the alpha wolf,
Right.
and then it just ends.
Mm.
And I'm like,
That's
I,
crazy. So there's no resolution in the movie?
Nope.
Not even like him getting rescued or anything?
nope.
Or making it out? That's
Mm.
wild.
My other one I was thinking of was, besides cliffhangers, is remakes.
Yes.
I'm tired of remakes.
Me too.
I'm tired of it. I don't need to see whatever for the third what's that one
Fantastic Four for one.
well, Fantastic Four. What's that one with it was Lady Gaga and
Oh, A Star is
Bradley
Born.
Cooper. A Star is Born. That's
Yep.
been made 5 times,
It
I
has.
think.
That movie was
Crazy.
produced to be remade, it feels like. Like
Maybe.
it's crazy.
I have something similar as a red flag
Mhm.
that I was thinking of before you even said the remakes in general, but mine is more specific against like Disney is like the live action remakes.
Yes.
Because
Absolutely.
those are
Immediately
just
sad.
so unnecessary.
They're
And
bad.
it's just like I see that they're like for example, Lilo and Stitch, I was like immediate red flag. Like I'm not
Same.
even gonna watch it because the original movie's just so good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember when they first started coming out and I was super excited back in like high school now. It's crazy how long they've been trying to do this stunt. I was like,
Yeah.
yes, I'm so excited to see Emma Watson as Belle. And then
Yep.
when I watched it, I was like, never mind. I wish I never saw that. And then I was like, well, you know what? Maybe I'll give him a second chance for Mulan, because I adore Mulan. It's the best Disney princess movie ever. Can't tell me otherwise. After watching some like clips from it and hearing like actual Asian or even American Asian people talking about it, they're like, no, this is like dog water. Don't watch this. I was like, man, no more for me then.
I'm trying to I'm Green Flag. That's tough. I don't know why. Because I enjoy movies. Like,
yeah. I have another red flag.
Go for it.
It's too many Marvel movies.
Hold on. Let me defend this for a second. I get it.
This could be a green flag for you. There's so many Marvel.
No, it's because I agree that sometimes they're doing too much, and I would say probably this most recent phase before the next one is Avengers Doomsday or whatever is getting very muddy. And there's probably like only 3 or 4 good movies out of like the 13 that were produced.
Some may call it a hot mess.
It is a hot mess. But what I will say is I like all of them. Like, I enjoy watching them. I don't know if I like them per se. They're not good, not all of them, but I enjoy all of them, whether it's just, it's superheroes. The issue is comic books are messy to begin with.
That's true.
So many different storylines. You got to read this comic to read this comic and understand this one, all these backstories and storylines. And I think that's very hard to recreate in movies.
It's fair.
So I think it gets a pass there. But yes, I know that's a lot of complaint for a lot of people. Well, then my red flag is DC movies are bad and they need to start redoing them and make them good, because
no, absolutely
it's
not.
It's the same thing as Marvel.
No,
but
just
I need more DC movies.
I don't care.
Oh, DC?
Yeah,
like
I
Batman.
thought you said
Disney. That's how I was like,
what? No, DC.
Okay. DC. Okay, I misheard. Okay.
What were you going to say, Larissa?
I was going to say, in regards to the Marvel thing real quick, Sam and I did just go see Thunderbolts, and honestly, it's a shining ray of hope for all future Marvel movies to come. Like, it tastefully did something with like mental health awareness that like I have not seen in a movie in a very long time. And so just to see Marvel tackle an issue like that in a way that's not pandering, I'm like, wow, we really have something here. And if it could have been any other sort of ensemble cast, it didn't necessarily have to be Marvel. I just like that they took that risk, and I think it paid off for them. Yeah.
I'm very excited for this Fantastic Four. Yeah, I've been excited for Fantastic Fours in the past, but I'm excited for
I'm not.
And I know this is off topic from our red flag, green flag. I do believe that we need a Marvel movie tier list episode.
Ooh.
And I don't know, Steph, if you've seen.
No, I probably would be like the chocolate, remember the Halloween tier list we did with the candy? That I was just like, I have no opinion because I haven't seen it. So it'd be like a YouTube episode. Maybe if I'm like out, you'll have to do that.
I would like that. I think that'd be fun. Absolutely.
Oh, one more green flag is credits before the movie.
You like that?
I enjoy that. I'm a sucker for like the OG Spider-Man where they did the entire like intro going through like the spider process and like did a ton of credits. It's not the full credits.
Okay, well,
but usually it's like very long intros. I think War of the Worlds had that. And a lot of older movies had the intro credits.
Yeah, I will say if you like
some of the main people like directed by or produced by.
Yeah, but not even that, because like a lot of movies don't do that anymore, and if they do, it's very like limited. I'm talking about like where it's almost like a full like 2-3 minute production of the credits. I enjoy that.
No, and I will say like I will enjoy because you did bring up Spider-Man. I like a good intro credit if they weave in narrative elements. I absolutely hate it when they just pan to the like title of the movie and then they like have a landscape behind, and for the next 5 minutes you're just watching people's names.
Yes.
Like,
no, I get that. Absolutely.
I can't do that.
Another red flag, this is probably my last one.
Okay.
Is people who avoid foreign films because they're just like, I don't understand it, so I'm not gonna watch it. But then also if they watch it dubbed.
Oh my God. Now, I will say there are certain circumstances, specifically with dub form films, where it's funny is when it's meant to be funny. Something
that's
like
true.
Shaolin Soccer.
Okay.
Well, yes, okay, that's different.
Yes, where like
when it's made purposely like that.
Yeah, like what was that? The TV show XMC. Was that what it was called? Where it was the old Wipeout. It was an Asian version of Wipeout. I'm not sure which culture. I have to feel bad if it wasn't Japanese or Chinese. but it was like in the 90s and early 2000s on Spike TV, and it was all dubbed,
That's
and they were just
hilarious.
make up things the whole time.
That's so good though. But
It
yeah,
was
but
really
that was
funny.
an intentional stylistic choice, not like back in the day watching really bad kung fu movies with Bruce Lee and the random
Right.
American macho voice comes out and you're like, this does not match.
Yeah, I'm not gonna watch Parasite dubbed. Like,
Yeah.
I did
Well, stuff like that, you know.
I did switch over to the dub for Squid Games just for a minute to see how bad it was. I was like, I don't know how
No.
anybody could watch this
Yeah.
dubbed.
But
I
something
tried, I had to go
serious,
back.
like something seriously produced, it's just like, nah.
I agree.
I think there's
Absolutely.
something that people miss out on so much culturally by not hearing it in the original language.
I would agree. I have a green flag though.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
Yeah.
Oh, green flag. Okay, yeah, let's slide in. Yeah.
Absolutely. Whenever I see in a trailer a hint that there's going to be a historical costume of any kind, I'm like,
Red
hell
flag.
yeah, bring me the historical drama. I want this. I don't care if it's terrible and cheesy. I want to watch it.
So green flag is just historical dramas for Larissa.
Yeah, so costumes, if I see a corset, I'm happy.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna move on to our next category, which is video games.
Ooh.
What are some green flags and red flags that you have about video games and video game franchises or what have you?
Green flag for me. Oh, sorry.
Yes, I was going to say, just to get this out of the way, because you mentioned it with the movies, I hate when they keep remastering video games. Like, come on. Like, I know it's just a cash grab. Specifically for the Skyrim series. Like, I do want to play the remastered Oblivion. I'm not going to lie. Like, you're kind of get that for me. But we don't need
So kind of
10
like
different special editions for Skyrim.
No, what? No, okay.
Make
Are
a
you
new
talking about
Skyrim.
remasters or are you talking about DLC and special editions? Because those are different things.
Specifically remasters, but we all know that the re-releases of Skyrim, even if they say special edition on them, no.
Well, that's okay. Well, that's I don't want to get into the weeds, but all the stuff that's come out for Skyrim have been add-ons and have been extras in DLC. They haven't really. They did one remaster for Skyrim when it came out onto the PS4 and like the PS5, I think. But everything else has just been additional stuff. Oblivion is a complete remaster where they just upped the graphics essentially.
No, they've actually. I almost want to consider that like almost a different tier, because a lot of the times when you see remaster, like it's just like a coat of paint on it. But this time they actually changed the game mechanics and made it a lot more user friendly and modern, and like they did actually a lot behind the scenes for that. So yes, but in general, I'm not a fan of remasters. Like, come on, come up with something new.
This kind of goes hand in hand as a green flag, red flag. It depends on how you see it. Like HUDs in video games and like display as far as cleanliness. So like if I'm playing like a Souls game and I have, okay, here are the 4 buttons in the corner and like what sword I have active and my health bar and mana bar, whatever, keep that fine. And then there's games like League of Legends and World of Warcraft where it's got the very busy bar at the bottom with all the different little buttons, and I absolutely hate that.
Yeah, me too.
I don't want to have to press 100 different things on my keyboard. I can barely use WASD to begin with. I'm a controller boy through and through. So I have a ton of video game green and red flags, but I'll let you guys continue.
I think for me, a red flag is releasing a video game and then having like parts of it come out later with updates or potential just like DLC that you have to like get later. I just think like, yeah, you should release one full game and that be it.
I would agree, absolutely. Unless it's like a thing where it's like a year or two after release, and it's sort of like, I know they do this in like Animal Crossing, where there's like, it's not necessarily a patch, but like
events.
They just add like, hey, we decided we're gonna like do a happy birthday celebration or something like that.
Now, what I will say is, yeah, I agree with Steph, especially if it's pay to play, play to win. So like certain skins in video games give you an advantage, or certain loadouts give you an advantage. And they've gotten away from that a lot for most video games, especially multiplayer. But in the same vein of that, I do like as a green flag in games like Pokemon Go, where there's consistent events keep coming out and they release new outfits and new like updates to it where it's like things you can work toward. So good examples are Phasmophobia, Labyrinthian, Headliners, a lot of horror games. They update and change where, hey, now it's not just like the same thing over and over again. You have goals, you have cosmetics you can get, and you don't have to buy them. You can just earn them. which is really
Absolutely.
nice.
That's fair. I feel like though, just like also maybe more so for me, it's like when you have an unfinished game and you're just releasing it, and
Yeah.
then you're
Oh,
like,
absolutely.
oh,
Like Cyberpunk.
yeah, and then they're like, we'll
Mhm.
release the other part of the game later or something. I don't know.
Mhm.
That's just kind of like
Yeah,
just
it's
wait.
lazy.
Because I think
Yeah.
like the big example too is like GTA. They're like, we're waiting. We're even push our
That's
date
true.
back because it's like we're gonna release it all at once. And I'm like, you know
Mhm.
what? And people are excited. They're gonna wait for it. So
Yeah, mad respect for them. Absolutely. That development team. They've been holding on this for like I don't know how many years now.
A long time. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Let's see. A
I do have a
green.
green flag.
Oh, yeah, you go.
Yeah,
Yep.
to cut you off. I play a lot of free to play mobile games, and I will say if your in game like fake currency is unmanageable, like, okay, I enjoy my free to play games where you can actually earn the in game currency
Right.
fairly quickly. Like, I can actually play most of this game by just waiting the daily like 24 hours to do my what I call my dailies where I can like game the system to like use these gems or whatever to access the gambling aspect of the game where you need to get like credits towards something. Like I'm really happy about that because back in the wild west of free to play when it just started coming out in like 2009, especially for like gotcha type games,
Right.
man, it was so bad. Like I was
Microtransactions.
yeah, and like you could not finish a story without putting like actual cash into the game. I'm like, I'm reading this light novel and I'm like, I just want to finish it. And it's like, well, you got to wait 24 hours to get 3 credits, but in order to get to the next scene, you have to have 24. But
Absolutely.
now it's like, oh, as long as I just like keep up with the game, I can keep playing. But if I wanted the content faster, I pay for it. Like, yeah, that's totally fine. Like, I think that's a green flag for like your mobile type games for transactions. Like, I know we have to like find a way to make money, but still make your base game playable for everyone.
Right. I would say microtransactions are the biggest red flag in a
It's
game.
yeah,
true. That's
Absolutely.
true.
yeah,
I have another green flag.
that's a green one.
A green flag, and this just a green flag for any sort of media in general, but specifically with video games, is a solid narrative, a solid like
Mm-hmm.
story, because there's a lot of games where maybe they don't require story and it's just you play the game like, brick breaker game or just a side scroller fighting
Right.
games, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But
Elatro.
Balatro, greatest game of all time. But like a new game I'm playing is Blueprints. I just downloaded it.
You bought it? You didn't
Just yet.
tell me.
I know. Last night I forgot to tell you because I saw Andy was playing it, so I was like, "Oh, I have to download it." I didn't get into it
Start
at all.
start over because I want to watch you play that.
Okay, I didn't get into it really at all. So, but the thing is it's a puzzle game, and there's a lot of mystery and a lot of like stuff like this, and the story is like spread out through it, and it's like
Mm-hmm.
you're building the story as you go. So it's a strong story, strong narrative, as opposed to I don't know, a game like oof, what's that movie that's just coming out now with the based on the video game?
Oh, 7 Days to Die.
No,
Or
no,
No,
no.
Until Dawn.
Until Dawn. Yeah, I don't know. Until Dawn had an okay story, but the movie's nothing like the game either, so who
well,
knows?
wasn't it for those sort of games like it was an excuse to like shoot up zombies though? Like, let's be
Yeah, but it was a
real.
Telltale game, and Telltale games are usually pretty
That's
strong, like the
true.
Telltale Walking Dead game,
Mm-hmm.
Borderlands. Those are all pretty good.
I was gonna
Yeah.
say a green flag for me. I had it, and now it's
Come back, Green Flag, come back.
no, it's waving away.
Oh no, goodbye, Green Flag.
Goodbye. Oh my god, what happened to it? I
I
don't
don't
know.
know. You tell me.
My red flag, especially since we're coming from like I don't know, Xbox 360 generation of gamers. Like that's where we primarily play most of our games in our young age. Is whenever I hear the word open world and it's not necessary, I'm like, what are you doing? Just
What do you
stop it.
mean?
Like
What do you mean?
where like the next like AAA game comes out and they're like, our biggest feature, our signature thing is it's going to be open world and it's going to be bigger than the city of Boston. Like, I don't care because half
Oh,
the
I do.
time, besides the like core narrative center, most of the stuff on the extremities, it's padding. Like, I would much rather if you spend your budget on a reasonable amount of space where I can actually enjoy this sort of thing instead of just like running around with a horse and I get to see the same 5 flowers in the background. Like, no, like
It's fair.
pay attention to the game mechanics.
I remembered it. I had to write it
okay,
down.
yeah.
I literally wrote it down as Larissa was talking because I was like, I need to remember it. It's a good soundtrack. Green Flag.
True.
Absolutely, just like movies.
There's so many good soundtracks in video games that like I even getting through my schoolwork, all I would listen to, I swear to God, was just the Animal Crossing hourly music.
It's good. Absolutely.
So I would put on those soundtracks because it was just get in the zone. It's comforting. I know a lot of people will listen to a lot of like video game soundtracks. I know Animal Crossing's a big one for people.
Mario Kart's pretty solid too.
Which one?
Mario Kart.
Yeah. And then, I mean, hell, even streamers use it, or like YouTubers will use video game music for their videos. I mean, it's just so, I feel like a good soundtrack, like it lasts, it sticks with people.
Yeah,
I would say even more so than like movies almost. I don't know, maybe not, but maybe for younger people. Maybe for younger people, video games like music hits more.
And I'm also just going to add that, like, whenever I play a game, and I like to play games for hours if I decide to, like, sit down and actually consume it. If I ever get the point where I'm like, I'm kind of bored with this music, I'm just going to mute it and throw on some YouTube in the background to keep playing this game. It's not necessarily a bad sign, but I get really excited when I notice that thought never crosses my brain, where, like, I don't need any other additional stimulation in my mind. So that's a good thing.
A green flag is good continuity in series. Okay. So where series continue to learn and adapt based on like audience preferences and just adapting with the times, because some we were talking about not too long ago. For example, the Pokemon series. Very simple original concept of top down, 8-bit graphics or whatever, 16-bit, whatever it was. And going out and collecting Pokemon, going to the 8 gyms and the Elite Four, and then you're done,
Having an adventure.
Well, and then the next one, they're like, okay, Gold and Silver, you have a couple more side quests to do, and then you can go and fight the original gym, leaders. And that was cool. And then as it progressed, you got more, different camera views. You had, 360 cameras, and then you had open world and different gym leader types and different tournament types. And I think that's really cool. You see that a lot in Final Fantasy. Final Fantasy went from just what it was, these little
pixel boys,
and the style to huge stories, open world games, and graphics, and just solid gameplay. So I think that's a huge green flag. Red flag would be just like stagnation with your games, like not willing to adapt. People are like, oh, I love that Forza is cars driving around in circles forever. Like,
that's true.
You can change it.
Yeah, absolutely. Except for games like Tetris. I don't know if you need rave music in your Tetris game. You should not have rave music with Tetris. Get that out of here.
Classic's good enough. Like the classic music.
Yeah.
All right. Is there any other ones for this one? If not, we'll move on to the last category.
One more thing I'll say. Big green flag is solid customization.
True.
If you can customize a character, and I know it's only gotten better with time, so like I can't blame old games, but even some old games had some solid customization. The original Oblivion was solid, but then there's like newer games.
I love it.
Yeah, Sims. Newer games where it's
Animal
like,
Crossing.
okay, I got 5 hairstyles to choose from and 6 outfits. Like what? What are you talking about?
Our next one, then, the last category is going to be anime. Red flags for anime and green flags for anime.
Okay, this one's going to be real spicy. And I'm just going to go right out the bat, and just going to rip off that Band-Aid. Red flag, if I see a 12,000-year-old demon who looks 12, get that out of here. Absolutely not.
That's fair.
I am not dealing with fan service for someone who is in their 30s who should not be looking at any sort of figure of that age demographic. No, get that out of here.
Red flag, and maybe.
Oh, go ahead, Sam.
I was just gonna say maybe because I just don't watch them. Is if the title's like more than like a sentence long.
Yes.
We saw one the other day, and it was literally like 3 sentences worth of words just for a title, and I'm like, I know that's how the novels are titled, like the short novels or whatever, light novels. But usually the anime is not good.
Right, you don't need it for the anime. The whole reason why light novels use that convention was that's just how you could get someone's reader's attention if like you're in like a manga bookstore and all you can see is the spine and not the cover.
Yeah.
that you can get as much information about what the story is about it. You don't need that for anime. Like
that time I was reincarnated as
Yeah.
a motorcycle in 1600 AD, but I had a monkey on my back the entire time. Yeah, stuff like that.
Yeah.
I was
Steph, I
gonna
know you got a
say
ton.
I probably have a ton for this one. Red flag. I think too many isekais right now.
I was gonna say that, but I said my long title one instead.
Yeah,
It's
Too many isekais.
oversaturated.
Also, I'm gonna say I know people like the dub, but I think it's a red flag if you've never seen the original sub before.
Of any anime?
Like, I think you should at least get familiar with it, watch a couple episodes, and then if you want to switch to the dub. But like for people that avidly avoid subs forever.
Fair.
I don't avidly avoid them, but there's some where they're just as good, and I'd much rather watch the dub than the sub, because if it's just as good, then it really doesn't matter as much. Like, I'm not losing anything on the story, but if it is a little sloppy, like, yeah, I'll watch the sub instead. I don't
That's just
have
my
a
controversial
preference.
one, I know that.
Yeah, I know. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I mean, if the dub's bad, obviously red flag, but I mean, I've had bad sub too, where it's like, you're like, that doesn't really make any sense, where just the titles, like the subtitles themselves are not accurate. Okay. Green flag is 12 episodes.
Ooh, short and sweet, to the point.
Yeah, I like a one and done story. Like if it's good enough to finish in 12 episodes, I think, or one season of a show, like, and it's almost just like a long movie. So like an example would be Angel Beats.
Yes.
Like, it doesn't need a sequel. It doesn't need continuation. I know a lot of shows people are like, oh, where's season 2? I'm like, it didn't need it. It ended on a good note. I know it's the exact opposite for One Piece, because the show will never end. But
that's why I'm kind of like both green and red flag, mostly because I'm like, there are such good animes that, like you said, are the 12 episodes, simple, really well storyboarded, thought out, where every episode, every minute counts. Like the first one that comes to mind, is my beloved Mob Psycho.
Absolutely.
Like, those, like, to me, it's perfect. The series did not need to be longer.
No.
But my kind of red flag with it is that we're losing out on those longer form anime things.
That's
like
true.
One Piece really is kind of the top dog. That's like the last remainder, if you will.
I agree.
I can't think of hardly. I mean, there might be some older ones or ones I just don't know of that are longer form.
There are, there's a couple like OG like Japanese ones.
Maybe like Detective Conan.
That's what I was thinking.
Yep.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I feel like more anime industries are shifting towards that 12 format or shorter format series.
It's less expensive.
I feel like and I feel like we're missing out though on that like core first going like OG Dragon Ball style, which is a big part of anime, I felt like.
Yeah, and I feel like you kind of miss out on that cultivation of fandom, especially now that we're older anime heads. Well, not Sam, but when there was only like, and this is also due to like the oversaturation problem, there's only like 10 animes that came out during an anime season, and like everyone in the anime scene tried to watch as much as they could, and like you would be tangentially aware of everything that's going on in the current year. Now that's impossible, and I feel like the fandom is so fragmented now that like I see this on TikTok, and whenever we actually went to the con ourselves, I've noticed that there's a lot less engagement in between fans who go to these spaces. Like you're very like isolated and sequestered, and no one's really like going up and talking, because like we've lost that sort of like culture of like, this is going to sound extremely boomer, of like back when TV was so relevant and a certain show came out the same time, everyone was talking about that. But now since we've moved away from that model, you don't really have fandoms as much in like regular schmegular places.
I can see that.
Green flag is power scaling done right. So especially over periods of time, because if it's not done right, then it's a huge red flag where, okay, this person's the strongest person ever and you have to defeat them and they can destroy worlds. The last 3 people you fought were the strongest person ever. Wouldn't make it make sense.
Cough, cough, Dragon Ball.
Well, no, I mean, yes and no, because like some of them, like, okay, I mean, Dragon Ball's a good example with both Cell and Majin Buu. They both couldn't be killed, essentially. They had to be entirely like eviscerated for them to die, because their cells could reform and come back, but there's characters on there that, it's not like that at all. But I will say a good example I think of is Naruto. So in season 1, they fight Zabuza. Is that his name, right?
Yeah.
And they struggle. And
They do.
That's true.
I get that they're kids and it's like their first mission, and so they struggle. Kakashi should not have struggled. Kakashi
He shouldn't have, but they had to do plot somehow, right?
I know, and I know they have to build, and that's my problem is like, well, okay, maybe they didn't expect it to grow this fast, when he was originally writing the story, or like when they were originally coming up with it.
That's true.
Because a lot of people complain like, oh, why does this get retconned? And it's like, well, they started the story in 1995.
Like 20 years ago.
2025.
Yeah.
They weren't expecting you to go back and research these things. So
but I was going to add on to that because I do think, like what you said, Sam, like Naruto, I really enjoy it because there's a lot of just training episodes. You see episodes where they're trying to power up their jutsu. And like that's the thing that I enjoy in anime is seeing the characters learn how to overcome or learn how to solve their problem by getting stronger to maybe fight that next baddie or something like that. So I definitely think like those training arcs or those training things are really good. I know even like My Hero does that a little better, is like they actually show the kids in school training their powers,
right.
Not that to say that I like it as like much. I think it's okay, the show, but I will say that they do the power scaling kind of like that as well.
That's fair. I will say green flag, since I started with portraying young children in a not great way, I'll end my opinions by saying green flag, anytime there's a romance show with adults, I'm watching that. I'm super excited. I'm hype. I'm tired of watching my high school couples get together. Like, come on, at least age them up to college. I've seen it. Like, what are they gonna do? They're gonna kiss at the end. That's it. I want more.
I think another green flag for anime is just honestly the animation industry and really setting the bar, trying new things.
Absolutely.
Pushing the boundaries on what animation can do for a story, emotion, action. There's so many things I feel like that anime has done that even so many other types of cartoons and other countries adapt from anime because they pull that inspiration or they pull that certain style or a way that they've learned how to animate something and then they translate it into a different medium.
I'll go off of that with as animation continues and gets better. I don't know if it's considered a red flag or a green flag, that for the longest time Japan's kind of had anime. Like it's just Japan, and you've had American cartoons and then you've had American things that kind of touch on it, such as Avatar: The Last Airbender. But I know there's a lot of Chinese animations that don't get views because one, either you can't watch it because the government's like, oh, you can't access our, stuff, or it's just not being, showed love or whatever. And there's a bunch of people talking right now about like 3 or 4 new Chinese anime that are supposed to be better than the animation style of Demon Slayer and Solo Leveling and all those ones. And like one of them's like Super Cube, and I'm like, I really want to watch that. Then we watched.
I was gonna say my fourth favorite, my number 4 on my top 10 list is a Chinese anime.
That's right, Scissor 7, right?
Scissor 7. I adore that, and it's a Chinese one. I watch the same thing in Chinese. It was interesting because we watch like it, in the original language. I'm so used to hearing
Japanese.
Yeah. It was such a difference hearing it in Chinese, but I've come to love it. So
yeah, I mean, I wish there was more access to those other ones because I guarantee other countries might have some other cool stuff, but it's hard to gain access to it. Red flag, real quick, is a show like Sword Art Online where it goes from, hey, here's the concept of the show, here's the story of it, and now we're going from like going into the internet and fighting, in the internet to now we're into fantasy, now we're into fairies, now we're aliens, now we're monsters. Like
just switching the genre.
Yeah, stick to something.
I get you. Just kind of looser storytelling or plot.
Yeah, absolutely.
Losing the plot a bit. I can see that. All right. Well, I think that was our last one. Thank you guys so much for joining me in this episode. I thought it was a pretty simple one, but kind of an easy one to do, but it was very insightful. I think that was fun. And I liked all the discussions we had. Thank you, dear listeners, for listening. I know we missed a week, but we should be back again with weekly episodes.
Yes, hopefully, yes.
Hopefully. So that's the plan going forward. You can stay tuned with us at Shifting Tones Pod on a few social media websites like Blue Sky and Reddit. And then
YouTube.
Oh yeah, duh. YouTube is one of them. You can also follow us individually, me at Spiffy Steffi, Sam at Sir Captain Sam, and Larissa at Larissa.Schaefer. Well, thank you guys again for listening. Thank you for your time, and we will see you next Thursday. Bye.
Bye.